Before the dawn of man, before Adam ever set foot in Eden, a guardian stood watch over the garden, a protector so crucial, yet whose existence has been erased from history. Imagine this: a being not quite man, not quite angel, created for one sole purpose, to guard the sacred grounds where mankind's story would begin. But why is it that we know nothing of him? Why was this guardian removed from the annals of time, hidden from the world? What if I told you that Eden held a secret, something buried in its soil, something too powerful for even the greatest of angels to touch? A secret so immense that the guardian who stood vigil over Eden was silenced and forgotten, as if the memory of his very existence had been erased to protect something much more significant. In this video, we will unravel the mystery of the Guardian of Eden. Who was he, and why was he cast aside? We'll explore the biblical clues, the ancient texts, and the deep silence of Scripture that holds the key to understanding why Eden's protector was removed. Together, we will uncover the truth hidden behind the gates of paradise and why it has remained veiled for so long. Join us on this journey as we seek answers that have remained obscured for centuries. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think this guardian was truly protecting? Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, for the secrets of Eden are about to be revealed. Before the arrival of Adam, Eden was not merely a garden of beauty. It was a sacred space, watched over by a figure whose identity remains hidden in the pages of time. This guardian, this protector of Eden, was not a mere observer. He held the very keys to the garden's deepest secrets. His purpose was clear: to maintain the order and sanctity of the place where humanity's story would begin. But why do we not know his name? Why was he erased from the biblical narrative? This silence speaks louder than any written word. The Bible, in its wisdom, remains curiously silent on the identity of this guardian. Genesis tells us that Eden was prepared before Adam arrived. It speaks of the rivers and the trees, of the beauty and the divine perfection within it. But it leaves out one crucial detail: the one who protected it before man stepped into its holy soil. How could something so fundamental, something so essential to the divine plan, be erased from the narrative? In the void left by this silence, we are faced with a question. What truth was too sacred to be known, and why was this guardian removed from the garden before humanity arrived? Could it be that he saw something so profound, that his very existence needed to be concealed to protect a divine secret? Let us not make the mistake of dismissing his absence as unimportant. The erasure of this guardian is a crucial detail, one that calls us to look deeper into what the Bible and other ancient texts are truly revealing. This guardian was not a fallen angel, nor was he a simple servant of God. He was a unique entity, a being between the realms of man and angel, created specifically for the purpose of protecting the garden from forces beyond mortal comprehension. The significance of his role cannot be overstated. This guardian's role, however, was not without cost. In the ancient texts, there are whispers of a deeper cosmic struggle, a battle between forces of good and evil that transcended Eden. The guardian of Eden, it is said, witnessed the early stirrings of rebellion within the heavenly realm. He saw the seeds of pride and disobedience grow among the angels, and perhaps, just perhaps, he understood the full weight of what was to come. His awareness, however, would not be his undoing. It was his action to try and intervene that led to his silence. And in the grand cosmic narrative, the birth of rebellion is often attributed to Lucifer, but this guardian might have witnessed the early stirrings of that pride, that thirst for power. He was the first to know the full implications of what was unfolding in the heavens above, and for that knowledge he was silenced. His disappearance was not a punishment. It was a protective measure to shield him from the knowledge that humanity was not yet ready to comprehend. This is where the lessons begin. The Guardian's removal teaches us an important truth about knowledge, power, and the timing of revelation. Sometimes understanding the fullness of divine purpose is not something we can handle right away. There are truths, beautiful, terrifying, sacred truths, that are kept from us until we are ready. The Guardian of Eden knew too much. His silence, forced upon him, is a reminder that there are moments in our own lives when knowing the full story too early can overwhelm us. There is wisdom in patience and in waiting for the right time for the revelation to come. Consider for a moment the way we often crave answers, immediate, clear, without delay. But there are times in life when the waiting, the silence, and the mystery are meant to protect us. Perhaps this is why the Guardian's story was removed from the pages of Genesis. It was not because it was unimportant, but because we were not yet prepared to understand it. Just as the garden itself was created in its fullness before humanity arrived, there are moments in our lives when we must wait for our own understanding to grow before we can fully comprehend the wisdom of God's plan. The story of the Guardian is a story of divine mystery, of truth waiting to be revealed when the time is right. It speaks to our own journey of spiritual growth. There are moments when we are drawn to know more, to understand the fullness of God's plan for us. But we must learn from the silence of the Guardian. Not all knowledge is ours to possess at once. Some things must remain hidden until we are ready to see them. This lesson of divine timing is a powerful reminder that our lives are part of a greater story, one that is unfolding in ways we may not yet understand. The Guardian's presence, though erased, left behind a profound impact. It is the very absence of his name that causes us to pause, to question, to seek deeper understanding. His disappearance from the narrative is a symbol of all the truths that are kept from us, not as a punishment, but as a gift, a way of protecting us from things we are not yet ready to handle. In the quiet, in the absence of answers, there is a call for us to trust in the divine timing of our lives. Just as the Guardian protected Eden from unseen forces, so too does God protect us from revelations we are not yet prepared for. As we move forward in this exploration, let us remember the Guardian, not for what we do not know about him, but for what his story can teach us. His story is a reminder that we, too, are part of a larger cosmic narrative. And just as the Guardian was entrusted with protecting Eden, so too are we entrusted with the responsibility to guard our hearts, to seek understanding, and to trust in the timing of God's plan for our lives. We may not have all the answers now, but in due time, we will understand why some mysteries must remain hidden, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The truth of the Guardian is not just a story of ancient times. It is a living, breathing lesson for us today. It is a call to trust in the divine process, to understand that silence often holds the deepest truths, and to know that the mysteries of our lives are part of a greater divine story. As we move forward, let us do so with patience, with trust, and with the understanding that, in God's timing, the secrets of Eden will be revealed in ways we never imagined. Through this story, we are reminded that our lives, like Eden, are filled with both known and unknown mysteries, and that each chapter, each revelation, will come at its appointed time. Until then, let us cherish the silence, for in it lies the protection of all that is sacred, all that is holy, and all that is divine. The Guardian's disappearance, though a mystery, is a divine lesson, a lesson of patience, trust, and the ultimate revelation of truth. As we journey deeper into the mystery of the Guardian, we must turn our attention to the relationship between this figure and the fall of the heavenly host. The Guardian, though not the cause of the rebellion, stood as a silent witness to the rise of pride and disobedience among the angels. This position was not just a passive role. It was a sacred duty, one that carried with it the burden of foresight. The guardian's presence in Eden was not just to protect the physical garden, but to maintain the harmony of creation itself. He was the first to witness the seeds of rebellion being sown in the heavens, and this knowledge set him apart from the others. When we think of the fall, our minds often turn to Lucifer, the fallen angel who became Satan. But what if the guardian, standing at the threshold of Eden, saw a much earlier fracture, one that foreshadowed the division to come? Could it be that the guardian, who was placed to safeguard Eden, also bore the weight of the divine knowledge of what was to unfold? Was he the first to feel the tremors of corruption stirring among the heavenly hosts? The scriptures do not reveal these answers, but we can imagine that the guardian, aware of the celestial dynamics at play, might have tried to intervene. Perhaps in his pure heart, he sought to warn those who could still be saved, or perhaps he tried to shield the garden from the growing darkness. Yet his efforts were in vain. The cosmic forces at play were too powerful, too entrenched. The rebellion that was brewing among the angels would ultimately lead to the fall of Lucifer. And with that fall, the guardian was removed, not because of any sin or failure on his part, but because of his knowledge and his role in the unfolding of creation. He was silenced, his fate sealed, not for disobedience, but for his awareness of the great cosmic drama unfolding beyond Eden. This leads us to an important lesson. Sometimes being privy to knowledge, especially divine knowledge, can be a heavy burden. The guardian's role, although one of great responsibility, also carried the weight of what he had witnessed. How often in our own lives do we find ourselves in situations where the knowledge we possess forces us to remain silent? There are moments when the truth, even when seen clearly, is not meant to be spoken just yet. We learn from the guardian that knowledge is not always a tool to be wielded openly. Sometimes it is meant to be held in silence, preserved for a time when it can be revealed for the greater good. The burden of wisdom is not always easy to bear, and sometimes silence is the greatest protection. Let us consider the world today. We live in a time where information is abundant, yet we often find ourselves overwhelmed by the sheer volume of knowledge. We seek answers, and yet we may not always be prepared for the weight those answers carry. The guardian's story reminds us of the need for discernment in the way we handle knowledge. Not all truths are meant to be revealed immediately, and not all revelations come at the time we expect them. In our journey through life, we are constantly confronted with new information, new insights. But there are times when the wisdom we seek must be tempered with patience. The guardian of Eden, in his silence, offers us a powerful example of how to navigate the complexities of knowledge and truth. As we reflect on the guardian's silence, we are reminded of the importance of timing. The guardian knew things that humanity was not yet ready to understand, and his removal from Eden was a divine act of protection. This is a lesson for us as we journey through life. The knowledge we seek is often profound, but we must trust that the right time for its revelation will come. Just as the guardian was removed for the protection of creation, there are times in our lives when we must trust that the universe, or God, has a plan for when certain truths will come to light. This brings us to another critical point. The guardian was not removed because of sin, but because of the nature of his role. His knowledge, his awareness of the unfolding events in the heavens placed him in a unique position. He was a protector, but also a witness to something that could not yet be fully understood by man. His fate serves as a reminder that sometimes our actions, our very existence, are tied to a greater story, one that we may not fully understand until the moment is right. There are many moments in life when we feel as though we are in a holding pattern, waiting for something to happen, waiting for a revelation or a shift. The story of the guardian teaches us that even in these moments of waiting, we are part of a larger divine plan. The guardian's role, though not fully revealed, was essential to the grand story of creation. His silence, though painful, was a necessary part of the cosmic order. And so it is with our own lives. Sometimes the waiting, the silence, is a necessary part of our journey. The guardian's disappearance also serves as a reminder of the importance of the choices we make. When we face challenges, when we find ourselves at a crossroads, we are often presented with knowledge that could change everything. But what we do with that knowledge matters. The guardian, in his position, chose to protect Eden, to hold silence in the face of the cosmic rebellion that was unfolding. His choice was one of obedience, one of trust in the greater plan. This is a lesson for us all, that the choices we make, especially when faced with difficult truths, shape the course of our lives and the lives of those around us. The Guardian's story also challenges us to look beyond the immediate and to consider the larger picture. We often focus on what is in front of us, on what is immediately visible. But the Guardian's role teaches us to look deeper, to understand that there is a divine order at work that may not always be clear to us in the moment. Just as Eden was a sacred space with layers of meaning and mystery, so too is our life. There are deeper meanings at play in everything we encounter, and it is through patience, trust, and discernment that we begin to understand the greater purpose behind our lives. As we move into the next part of this exploration, we must consider what lies beyond Eden. The Guardian's story does not end with his removal. Rather, it speaks to the ongoing mystery of creation and the role we all play in it. The absence of the Guardian is not a story of loss, but of waiting, waiting for the right time, waiting for the revelation that will come when we are ready to understand it fully. Just as Eden remains a place of mystery and beauty, so too does our lives. What we see now is only a fraction of the story. The full picture will be revealed when the time is right. Let us carry with us the lessons of the Guardian. Let us learn from his silence, his patience, and his obedience. Let us trust in the divine timing of our lives and know that, like the Guardian, we too are part of a greater cosmic story. A story that unfolds not in our own time, but in the time of the Creator. Through silence, through waiting, through patience, we will one day understand the mysteries of Eden and the purpose of the Guardian's role in the divine plan. As we reflect on the Guardian's role, it's essential to consider the nature of his removal from Eden. This was not a punishment, but rather an act of divine protection, both for him and for the future of creation. His removal was not because of sin, but because of a higher purpose, to shield him from knowledge that humanity was not yet ready to understand. In many ways, this mirrors our own lives. We may find ourselves in situations where we feel compelled to know more, to dig deeper, but sometimes the universe or God holds us back, not to punish us, but to protect us. Consider for a moment how often we are presented with questions, challenges, or truths that we are not yet prepared to face. In the quiet, in the waiting, we are protected from the weight of knowledge that could overwhelm us. The Guardian was positioned at the very edge of understanding. He saw more than any other, but he was prevented from revealing it. The divine wisdom behind his removal teaches us an important lesson. Not all knowledge is meant to be given to us immediately. Sometimes we must wait, trust, and grow before we are ready to fully grasp the significance of what we are meant to know. We can see this principle at work in our own lives. There are moments when we yearn for answers, when we seek the deeper meanings behind our struggles, our pain, or even our joy. But God, in his infinite wisdom, sometimes holds back the answers, knowing that our hearts and minds are not yet prepared to fully understand them. There is beauty in this withholding, for it teaches us patience, resilience, and trust. Just as the Guardian's knowledge of Eden and the celestial rebellion was kept from him, we too are often shielded from certain truths until the appointed time. This idea of divine protection through silence and delay is not something to fear, but something to embrace. The guardian's fate is a reminder that sometimes the greatest protection comes in the form of what is not revealed. Just as Eden remained untouched, a sacred space preserved in its purity, so too are we sometimes shielded from the full weight of life's truths until we are ready to carry them. We may not understand the reason for the waiting, the silence, or the delay, but in due time we will see that it was all part of a greater plan. The guardian's silence is not a curse, it is a form of protection, a divine mercy that allows us to grow, to heal, and to prepare for the eventual revelation. As we turn our attention to the continuing protection of Eden, we must consider the idea that after the fall of man, Eden remained a place of great significance. After Adam and Eve were expelled, cherubim with flaming swords were placed at the entrance of the garden to guard the way to the tree of life. Yet the original guardian was never mentioned again. His absence, his silence, speaks volumes. There is something profound in the way the scriptures hint at the original order of things. The guardian's role was so crucial that even after the fall, the garden was still a sacred space, still worthy of protection. Eden was not simply a paradise. It was a portal between the divine and the human, a space where the sacred and the earthly coexisted. The guardian who once stood watch understood this. He knew the deeper significance of Eden not just as a place of beauty, but as a place of divine covenant. His role was not merely to protect the garden's physical boundaries, but to preserve the sanctity of God's promise, a promise that would one day be fulfilled through humanity. The guardian's work was part of a larger divine plan, one that extended beyond Eden, beyond the expulsion of Adam and Eve, to a time when the gates would be reopened and the knowledge he once guarded would be revealed to all. This continuing protection of Eden, even after the fall, carries a deep lesson for us today. In life, we often experience moments of loss, moments when it feels as though we are cut off from something sacred, from something divine. Like Adam and Eve, we may find ourselves exiled from the paradise we once knew. But just as Eden was never truly abandoned, we are never truly cut off from God's grace. The cherubim with their flaming swords did not block the entrance forever. They simply guarded the way until the appointed time when humanity would once again be able to access the tree of life. The lessons we learn from the guardian and the protection of Eden teach us that, even in our moments of loss or separation, God's plan continues to unfold. We may feel as though we are waiting, as though we are being kept from something. But the truth is, we are being protected, prepared for something greater. Just as Eden was a sacred space, so too is our journey through life a sacred space, one that is being preserved for the day when we, too, will fully understand the mysteries of creation. The guardian's removal, his silence, and the ongoing protection of Eden are all part of this divine preservation. It is not a punishment, it is a form of divine mercy, one that allows us to grow, to heal, and to ultimately enter into the fullness of God's plan when the time is right. As we reflect on the guardian's role and the continuing protection of Eden, we are reminded that our own lives are also protected by divine forces, even when we cannot see them. Like the guardian, we are part of a larger cosmic story, a story that is still unfolding. We may not understand the events that are happening around us, but we can trust that they are all part of a greater plan, a plan that is working to bring us closer to the divine, closer to the tree of life, closer to the fullness of our purpose. The guardian story, though shrouded in mystery, teaches us that there is always more to the story than meets the eye. In the silence, in the waiting, in the unseen moments, God is working to protect us, to guide us, and to prepare us for the revelations that are yet to come. The protection of Eden and the role of the guardian is a reminder that we are never truly alone in our journey. Even when we cannot see the way, even when we feel lost or disconnected, God's hand is upon us, guiding us toward the fullness of His plan. As we continue to explore the mysteries of Eden and the role of the guardian, let us embrace the silence and the waiting, knowing that these moments are preparing us for something greater. Like the guardian, we may not fully understand the purpose of our waiting, but we can trust that God is working behind the scenes, protecting us, preparing us, and guiding us toward the divine revelation that awaits us all. The guardian's silence is not a sign of absence, but a sign of protection. And one day, when the time is right, the gates of Eden will open once again, and we will understand the true purpose of our journey. Until then, let us trust in the divine timing of our lives, knowing that we are part of a much larger story, one that is still unfolding. As we draw closer to the end of this journey into the heart of Eden and the guardian who once stood watch over it, there's a quiet realization that lingers in the air. The story of the guardian is not just a tale of a forgotten protector. It is a story that echoes with lessons of silence, patience, and divine timing. It is a reminder that, in our lives, there are moments when we must trust in the unseen, trust in the divine purpose unfolding before us, even when we cannot fully understand it. The guardian's silence, though shrouded in mystery, holds a profound truth. Sometimes, what is not said, what is not revealed, is just as important as what is. Just as Eden was a sacred space that held mysteries beyond human comprehension, so too do our lives hold sacred moments and mysteries that we are not yet ready to understand. The guardian's role was not just to protect the garden, but to hold space for the divine, for the secrets of creation that would one day be revealed to all. It is easy to feel lost in our own lives, to feel as though we are waiting for answers, waiting for some great revelation. But the guardian teaches us a powerful lesson. There is beauty in the waiting. There is strength in the silence. Just as the guardian watched over Eden, protecting it from forces beyond his control, so too are we protected, guided by forces we may not always see or understand. We may not have all the answers right now, but we are part of a divine plan that is unfolding in perfect timing. When we look at the guardian's story, we can see a reflection of our own journey. How many times have we faced moments of uncertainty, moments where we were unsure of what lay ahead? How many times have we wondered if we were on the right path, if we were doing enough, if we were truly living in alignment with the divine will? The guardian's story reminds us that it is okay to not have all the answers, that it is okay to walk in faith, trusting that the divine plan is unfolding just as it should. There is a peace that comes with trusting in the process, with knowing that, even in the moments of silence, we are being held, we are being protected, and we are being prepared for what is to come. Just as the guardian stood silently, waiting for the appointed time when the truth would be revealed, so too are we called to stand in faith, to trust that the wisdom and understanding we seek will come in due time. The absence of the guardian is not a loss. It is a reminder that there is more to the story than what we can see. The silence he left behind speaks of a greater story, one that is still unfolding, one that we are all a part of. And while we may not yet understand the full significance of the guardian's role, we can trust that his story, like ours, is part of a larger divine narrative, one that is leading us to the ultimate revelation, the ultimate understanding of God's plan for humanity. As we journey through life, we will encounter moments that challenge our faith, moments that test our patience, and moments when we feel as though we are standing in the silence, waiting for answers. But the story of the guardian reminds us that there is purpose in the silence. There is purpose in the waiting. There is purpose in the times when we feel as though we are standing still. For in those moments, God is preparing us, protecting us, and guiding us toward the revelation that is waiting just beyond the horizon. If this video has brought light to your soul, if it has helped you find peace in the midst of uncertainty, or if it has simply given you a glimpse of the greater story that we are all part of, I invite you to support this journey. Your presence, your engagement, your energy, and your support allow me to continue bringing you these reflections, these insights, and these divine teachings. Every like, every comment, and every moment of connection means the world to me. Your support, no matter how small, is a treasure, a gift that allows me to continue this work and share these truths with you. I am deeply grateful for you, for your willingness to walk with me on this journey of discovery. The stories we share, the lessons we learn, and the divine truths we uncover together are what make this journey so meaningful. And so, if you feel called, if you feel moved by the message of this video, I ask that you consider showing your support in any way you can. Every act of support, whether it is a simple like or a thoughtful comment, helps to keep this message alive and moving forward. Together, we can continue to explore the mysteries of Eden, the divine plan that is unfolding in our lives, and the timeless truths that are meant to guide us. The guardian of Eden may have been silenced, but his story lives on in us. His silence, his waiting, and his role in the divine plan remind us that we too are part of a larger story, a story that is still being written, a story that is still unfolding. And as we continue on this journey, we can take comfort in knowing that we are never alone. God is with us, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward the ultimate revelation of His divine plan. Thank you, from the depths of my heart, for being part of this journey. May you continue to walk in the light of God's love, knowing that His timing is perfect, and that everything you need will be revealed to you at the right time. Keep the faith, and trust that the answers you seek are already on their way.